reality is we have so many horror stories when it comes to love relationships, and if these stories were about people who didn't pray and things of that sort, it wouldn't be scary. But the reality is, many of the people we consider to be good brothers and sisters have fallen into these things. So many times I get emails from sisters who are active in da'wah, for example, who will say, I started giving da'wah to some young man and now I'm emotionally attached to him. Or a brother who will start giving da'wah and then they will become emotionally attached as well. And stories of pregnancies from the religious people, yani. These things happen, and there is a tension between men and women. So you can't expect that you can mingle with women and sisters will mingle with men and that nothing will happen. Because that's not true, because there's a tension that naturally occurs between men and women. There's a story they say about, okay, well, I'll see if I can come back to that. But a story narrated by Ibn al-Jawzi, rahimahullah, in his book Al-Munkar. He says that at some point in history, the Muslims had surrounded Rome, the Europeans, in a fort, a very strong fort of theirs. So they put it under siege, and they stayed there for a long time. He says one of those days, one of the European women, she peered over the wall of the fort, and one of the Muslims, his name is Ibn Abdul Rahim, he saw her, so he became attracted to her. So he asked her, he said, كَيْفَ السَّبِيلُ إِلَيْكِ? He says, how do I get to you? So she says, there is no way for you to get to me except if you become a Christian. And if you become a Christian, I will show you a secret passage so you can come into the fort. So the man, he fell so in love with this woman that he became a Christian. Even though he was now in the middle of jihad and he was a hafiz of the Qur'an. But he became in love, and it took over his heart and his thinking and his emotions. So he became a Christian and he went to her. The Muslims were very saddened when that happened. And the siege continued for a long time, and eventually the Muslims left that fort. And some while later, a group of Muslims passed by the same fort, and they remembered Ibn Abdul Rahim. So they started to call to him, Ya Ibn Abdul Rahim, Ya Ibn Abdul Rahim. So he looked over the wall of the fort. So then they asked him, you got what you wanted. So where is your Qur'an, and where is your knowledge, and what happened, and what has your prayer done for you? So he began to cry. And he said to them, Wallahi, I have forgotten all of the Qur'an, and I do not remember except one ayah. And that is the ayah where Allah Azza wa Jal says, رُبَمَا يَوَدُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوْ كَانُوا مُسْلِمِينَ. Perhaps that the non-believers will wish that they were Muslims. This is the only ayah that he remembered. But so many people, when they become in love, they think that the root of their happiness lays in getting to be with that person that they're so attached to. But these similar stories have happened today. There was one brother who he started practicing Islam, he became active in da'wah, and then one day some old female acquaintance who's a non-Muslim calls him up. So she says, it's been a long time and so on and so forth. He says, I would like to come see you. She says, well, now I'm a Muslim and I'm a practicing Muslim and I'm not able to see you. She says, I'll just pass by, we'll just talk in the car. So she came, he went down, they were talking in the car. She said, I'll just drive around. They start driving around and now he's, So then they stopped in front of a place. She said, this is my house. Why don't you just come in? So now he wants to test himself. So they went inside. The end of the story is that, at the end of the story, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, they committed zina. And the thing was right after they committed zina, and they got up, she looked at him and she said, Islam, huh? As an insult to the injury now. But a lot of brothers do this and a lot of sisters do this. They test their iman. They test their iman. I will give da'wah to the prettiest girls in the school, and inshaAllah nothing will happen to my iman. People always test their iman and test themselves. Like people who pray with the television on. Let me test my khushu'. Allahu Akbar. And they start testing themselves. People do this in so many ways. Monitor yourself. You'll see. Oh, there's some danger in that, but inshallah nothing will happen. Let me see what will happen. Let me ask you this. Do you test your life? Do you say, let me run across the busy highway and see if I have my life when I get to the other side? Because you value it, you don't put it to the test. You value your iman, why do you put it to the test? Well, let me give the sisters da'wah and see what happens.